Hey guys, Rick Holcomb here. I've got an exciting video for you today, something you're not going to see anywhere else. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. So today I've got a really great interview for you. A few weeks back, I was scrolling through Facebook, saw this really amazing three-fly routine, and I liked it, and I commented, "Man, that looks great," or something like that. And a few days later, this gentleman got in touch with me, asking me if I'd be interested in reviewing his new project, Ghost. Now, I had never heard of Collin Claus, but I'm glad I ran into him, because this project, Ghost, is absolutely fantastic.
Let me show you some old school magic. Street performers back in Victorian times used these lovely silver coins to get the attention of passers-by. They gathered crowds by producing money from thin air, and then watch as it travelled from here to here, one by one, solid silver from hand to hand, here to here, that quick. Now, people often accuse them of throwing the coins across. However, this happened far quicker. Watch. If I slow it right down, it almost looks like real magic. That's some old Victorian street magic, where coins bounce from here and appear over here. Take a look.
Now, Collin is in England, and he has a company called The Alchemy Tree, which you can find at alchemytree.com. And it's in partnership with his friend Simon. Now, what they've got going on here is fantastic. There's dozens and dozens of tutorials on here, mainly card magic, but he tells me there's more coin magic coming. Now, his new project, Ghost, is all about a move or technique we may all be familiar with. But I gotta tell you, there's something else in there that makes this far superior to other things I've seen using this similar technique. So the project comes in two parts. One part is all about teaching and training using this technique. So you'll learn vanishes, productions, coin changes, utility switches, a bunch of stuff. And then the second part is a three-fly routine called Schmetterling, which is German for butterfly. So it gives you the option if you want to just get the routine, if you're familiar with what's going on, or if you want both together. Now, what Collin is bringing to the table here is something I think is really worthy of your attention, because this is an old technique, but what he's done in addition to the technique, it has given it so much flexibility, and you'll be able to do things you weren't able to do before. And just the versatility, by adding this little extra something, it's going to open it up to be able to use in so many other routines. Now, as far as the three-fly routine, Schmetterling, this might be my favorite version of three-fly I've seen, mainly due to the solution he has for the last coin. It looks like absolute magic, because you're ending in this position with one coin here and two coins here, and that coin is gone. And now you have three coins over here, and you can show your hand front and back, and then the cleanup is just as simple as tossing these coins over and handing them out. Now, this goes to show where just adding this technique to one routine, an old routine, can clean it up so much and make it look like it really should, like real magic. So like I said, all the techniques packed into the first part, it's just going to blow your mind at what you'll be able to do with it to any routine you're working on. This is something you can just kind of plug in to something you're already doing, and it's going to clean it up so well and just add another level of magic for you. Now, apart from the routine and all the moves and techniques you're getting, I want to talk about the video itself, because this is so well done and so well shot, great production value. But something cool that I just love, because I like seeing new ways to teach stuff. It's got slow motion and then freeze frames, and then if it's talking about a specific position, the image will go black and white, and then one specific spot on the finger or the coin itself will be highlighted in an orange color. And it's just a really cool and clear way to get the teaching across. And I just love little innovations like this. And I really just enjoyed watching the video itself, on top of the great ideas in there. So this is something that I think you're really going to love, and you're really going to get a lot out of. And the teaching is so well done, it's going to take you a short time to get all these moves down. So without any further ado, let's meet Collin Claus. So Collin Claus, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Honoured to be asked honoured to be interviewed by the Rick Holcomb. So yeah.
Well, thank you. So I've been working my way through your project Ghost, and I gotta say it's fantastic. I love all the ideas you've come up with, and just the creativity and versatility of the moves. And I think a lot of people will get into this because it's an old technique, but you're adding something new to it, which I think just makes it more usable, and you can do a lot more with it, especially getting the coin back into play.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is it. I just, since I sort of found it, and thank you for pointing out what the origins of this is, because I had totally overlooked. You pointed this out in Bobo's, and I just completely overlooked this. And nobody's contacted me. You're the first person to actually have said that, which is really, really interesting. So that's and it's always great to know more about the history of these sort of moves. And I think I said in the trailer that this is, I mean, I knew it wasn't new, because very little is new nowadays in, especially in coin magic, because there's only so many places a coin can go if you've just got these two hands, isn't it? So I'm really proud of the fact. So I'm really chuffed with how many things I've managed to find. I'm really chuffed about how many different ways I can use this move, as you say, to switches, vanishes, appearances, utility passes. It's all on the project.
Yeah, and like I said, people might be familiar with this, but there's a little something extra that it allows you to do more, and you can show your hands like this. And
yes,
so if you're already using this similar technique, you're unable to have this mobility, this flexibility.
Yeah. Well, you that sort of a show, and then you can make a coin appear, and I love that. Yeah, I love open-handed sort of displays, and I mentioned that on the project. I'm a big fan, and even though people have talked a lot about angles, and I think one of the things about coin magic nowadays is that the best moves are probably slightly angle sensitive, because they're the moves you just don't that you see that your audience watches, and they just can't see how it's done, and it's because you're aware of certain sort of angles, and you've got to be a little bit more aware. But the more confident you become with these sort of moves, the less that the angles actually matters. The more, what matters more is how your audience actually sees it. And okay, it's not going to work for every single situation, but when it does, it's that much stronger. As you probably realised with your own palm, the slide palm, which is a lovely move, But again, you've got to watch these things, but in the right sort of situation, it's so strong, isn't it? Yeah,
I completely agree. And, I see, especially with a lot of magic on Instagram and things, and, there's this one side that always mentions angles or workability, and, oh, well, I always work surrounded, so I'm not even going to look at that. It's not even worth it. But I mean, it's almost like if you think about gimmicks, you're not constantly using a gimmicked coin or a gimmicked card, but you throw it into the mix and it's unforgettable magic. So like anything that is angle sensitive, my friend Danny Goldsmith he likes to refer to things as you need to be angle conscious.
Yes, so, very true, yeah.
You have angles with every move if you really want to analyze it. So with things like this, it's just you maybe need to be a little more conscious. But if you completely avoid stuff that is quote unquote angle sensitive, then you will never get good at it, and you're missing out on what you could possibly do for people.
Absolutely. And I find that this is the other thing, that if you do everything all coin magic where that's surrounded, you just end up having this really kind of closed look to your magic. So your audience will always go, well, I don't know I might not know where the coin's hidden all the time, but it's got to be in the hand somewhere, because your hands kind of just look like that all the time, or like that. So that's, I think that, for the really strong coin magic, I think the angles are less important than what your audience perceives.
Right. And it's totally subjective, and if you're constantly performing in venues where you are totally surrounded, I mean, you may not have a use for this if you're only going to do it, once out of every 3 performances or whatever you decide. But
yeah, totally.
For me personally, I mostly perform for groups of 3 to 5, maybe somewhere in there. So I'm able to position myself in front of all of them, or maybe step back. And so stuff like this is, in my opinion, very workable and very useful. You can absolutely manage your angles.
Yes, absolutely. Well, as you see, I've been working in corporate dues, parties, weddings for the last 20 years or so, and yes, of course, there'll be times when you are surrounded, but when you're surrounded, then you do turtle coins across. That's what you do. You just do something that works. But I find a lot of the time you are just working for small groups at a time, and in that sort of occasions, then you pull out the big guns. That's what I say.
Right. So, tell everyone a little bit about what are they getting on. So I know this is in 2 pieces. So there's a tutorial piece with moves and techniques, and then there's this routine. So tell people a little bit about what they're getting on each part.
So part 1 kind of introduces the move and the concept, and I've tried to sort of jumble it up. So when you watch it, I haven't just kept all the bits that are sort of to the where it's sort of face to camera for a long time, and then you get a load of tutorial, because the way we do our it's created by the Alchemy Tree, which is a duo I'm of, and we've got our own way of teaching magic, and where it sort of slows down and sort of highlights certain moves. So I'm getting off the subject now, but so the first part is all about what moves you can do, how you can use this for vanishes, how you can use it for productions, for utility passes, and even switches. And then the second part is all about my favourite 3-fly, which is called Schmetterling. And I love 3-fly. It's one of my kind of obsessions. And for years I thought the best way to do this was by using a gimmick. And I went, because you've got these clean shows after every, after the coin goes across. But since having worked out this version, which uses the ghost move at least, I think it's 4 times throughout, it really helps to clean up some of the dirty moments that you often get in 3-fly, or some of the problems you come across when you start to study 3-fly. And that's why I'm particularly proud of this particular version, because there are some, especially the vanish of the last coin, it just looks really clean, whereas some of them, as you'll know, that the last coin you're kind of still left dirty, so you've got to quickly clean up, which is fine, in most cases. But I just wanted to kind of get rid of that moment, so you've got this open look at the end, so you go, well, where the hell has that coin gone?
Yeah, the more I've been playing with this, I think I've decided this is maybe my favorite version of 3-Fly because of the last coin. Because most versions don't vary that much from the first coin and the second coin. It's a lot of similar positions to get into. It's always the last coin, how to make that look the cleanest, because there's nowhere to hide when you've got one coin over here. And then, of course, the afterward moment, the cleanup. And what Schmetterling has is the combination of the visual moment for the last coin, and it's really easy on the finish up to end clean.
Yes, exactly. You just sort of relax back because they've seen it clean. There's no sort of, you're not in this sort of position or anything like that. You've seen this position, you kind of just go, well, it is clean. So you then sort of relax back. But I'm working on an even cleaner version of this. There's a couple of moments that still bug me, and it was the original idea I had. It's quite hard, so I couldn't do it. But I wanted to, there's a couple of moments I wanted to still get rid of, and I think I'm getting there. So I'm aiming for a Ghost 2, where I've got some new vanishes, new productions, and I've got a couple more touches on Schmetterling, which make it, I think, even cleaner. I showed it to my wife; she couldn't tell the difference. She looks at it and goes, "Same effect as far as I'm concerned." But for real hardcore magicians, it's important. Those little things that are the important things, aren't they?
Yeah, and I've been messing with an idea. I'm probably sure you've messed with this, but doing the ghost move with both hands, so you could have a jump back effect.
Yes.
With palms up, and like the coins in the left hand, then boom, it's in the right hand. Or you have a number of coins here. But it's pretty kind of tricky to do.
I mean, this is it. This, as you mentioned earlier, you obviously need a little something, but that little something helps you out. Whereas these moves tend to be quite hard. And when I first learned about these type of moves, I went, yeah, I'm never going to be able to do that. And the more I've got into the ghost technique, the easier I'm finding the other the slightly harder version. I'm going, it's really not that hard. You've just got to try it. It's one of those things. And that's what I've realized about coin magic anyway. I love the harder moves nowadays. A, they're a bit of a challenge. And B, all of a sudden, it just opens your coin magic up to looking like ridiculously clean. And it's those sort of things that I find that makes coin magic more interesting for me at the moment than card magic. I sort of dot back and forwards with card magic and coin magic, and sometimes Rubik's Cube magic, and then occasionally rubber band magic as well. So those are my four things really. But yes, but at the moment, coin magic is my thing.
Yeah, if I'm not doing coins, or if I'm, heaven forbid, I'm bored of coins, I'm always studying card magic. And most people think I only do coins, but
I thought that.
I'm okay with cards. I feel more creative with coins maybe, because there's far more work on cards than there's coins. I think that's fair to say. So I feel like whenever I'm having an idea with cards, it's just like a few days later I'll find something that it's the exact thing I came up with. It's already 50 years old.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I find it a lot harder. I've got a few routines with cards, but I know what you mean. And it's since I've been exploring the harder techniques in coin magic, I'm starting to find newer things. And again, they're not necessarily new, but I think it's because also there's less people doing the hardcore coin magic because it's so challenging in a lot of cases. So if you're prepared to go into that, then you're more likely to be rewarded with things that not that many people do. And that's another reason why I love it so much. But I also just quickly wanted to ask you about your music, because I've noticed you've got all those guitars hanging behind you all the time. You're obviously a guitar player as well?
I recently rearranged stuff because all the walls in here are white, and I just wanted something with color, and then I got carried away and moved my bookcases over here, and but my guitars are all still in the corners, out of frame. But yeah, I've been playing guitar since I was 13, and that's let's see, 26 years now. I'm 39.
Right.
But,
well, see, funny enough, I'm a guitar player as well. I play guitars. I've been playing since I was about 10 years old myself, and for years I played in bands, and that was my thing. I just played in bands, and I just never managed to. I was a bit of a rock guitar player, and tried to make it in bands to the age of 30, and then for some reason I learned a magic trick and got the bug of magic, and since starting to learn magic, my music, I've got some lovely guitars upstairs, but I just never play them nowadays because all I do is magic. I think I've become a bit disillusioned with music because I spent so many years trying to make it in music or do something with it and just never got anywhere. Whereas with magic, it's been totally the opposite. I've managed to find a way. I've got to know really well-known magicians. It's actually made me some money over the years, which is great. Well, it is my so it is actually my living. So that's why I spend more time. I've still got the guitars, but I just don't play them as much, which is a real shame. But that's the way it is at the moment. But,
yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat, and I guess it kind of started after my wife and I had our first daughter. She's now almost 8, and it was around that time I was playing less and less guitar, and part of that was not to be so loud, because I love to practice at night, because that's when I'm feeling more creative, and so I wasn't able to do that anymore, and then I've been doing magic since the same time, but at that point about 8 years ago, or 8 or 9 years ago, magic took the forefront, and like you said, I caught the bug hard, and so that's mostly what I've been doing. I still play guitar, but I can't say that I've grown much from 8 years ago as a guitar player.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Music's so hard to make it in, as you say. Whereas magic, even though it's becoming ever more popular, I still think you've got more chance, in corporate worlds and parties and stuff like that, as a magician than you have a musician, as such.
Yeah, I was in a number of bands in high school and when I started college, but I began writing my own music for a long time. Didn't do anything with it. I imagined putting an album together and trying to sell that, independently, but I have a lot of music on my computer and stuff, but yeah, it's partly, I think, music is so saturated. There's so many good guitar players out there. There's so many good singers, drummers. And that's the cool thing about magic, is it's a small community, but it's also, relative to another trade, it's small, but at the same time it feels big. But like you said, you're able to kind of, if you keep working and improving and coming up with stuff, you're able to get noticed and get people's attention much more easily. Absolutely.
As you say, yeah, it's a smaller community as well. I mean, as I say, it's so much easier to get to know really well-known magicians and actually sort of communicate with them via Facebook and all that. I mean, if you try to get hold of Steve Vai, you've got no chance. A lot less chance. I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that.
Now, a minute ago, you mentioned your company, the Alchemy Tree, that you run with in partnership with your friend Simon.
Simon Alexander, yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. Yes, we started about 7 years ago, and our idea was we both love sleight of hand. I'm probably slightly more obsessed, but he does a lot of the technical side of things, and he's much better with the websites. And originally we had our own website, but we've got our own style of the way we do our tutorials, and you'll see that on Ghost. as I was saying earlier, it's about where all the moves you learn are sort of from that point of view, where you're looking at the hands, and I talk you through it slowly. It sort of stops, goes into black and white, and then it highlights certain areas of coins or of the actual hand itself, depending on where the important bit is. So we're quite proud of it. As I say, it's Simon's concept originally, because he's very good at breaking things down and being able to teach it, and I'm very good at just learning moves and just becoming obsessed until I get them down. So we've both got our part in this, and so we've been making tutorials. We've done mainly card magic, but we're just starting to get into the coins a bit more as well. And then but the problem we had is we're terrible at promoting ourselves, and it's because I think it's one of those things, if you're good at it, you're good at it, but if you're not, all I want to do is practice and do magic. The last thing I want to do is go out and promote myself lots. I'm not very good at bigging myself up either. I just find a bit like, I just find that hard. So if you've got somebody else to do that for you, it's a lot easier. Right. So that's why a good friend of mine was Peter Nardi, who owns Alakazam Magic, and he said, why don't you come on board and we'll promote your stuff exclusively, and it's worked really well, and we've been doing that for the last year or so, and we've still got lots of stuff to come out that we've been kind of developing for the last 7 years, but we're sort of bringing it out bit by bit.
Yeah, so that's the true.
It's I was browsing around the website, and just what you guys are doing there looks really great, and there's already dozens and dozens of tutorials on there for card stuff, so I hope everyone goes and checks that stuff out. And one thing I wanted to talk about was the video itself, which I really enjoyed, and I just enjoyed the style of, I don't know what to call it, the technique for teaching, where there's some slow motion, but these freeze frame moments, and then everything kind of dips to black and white, and the positions are highlighted in color, so you see exactly what you need right at the moment you need it. And I thought that was a cool little innovation to integrate into a normal video.
Yeah, no, that's something we're very proud of, and that's Simon's teaching technique. And when I first saw it, I went, "God, that's genius! That's so good." I was just, and we've kind of adapted that ever since and got better at doing it. And I say, what he's really good is he's much better than me at this scripting side of things as well. So he's sort of very good at breaking stuff down and talking about it really, really clearly. And so it's normally his voice that goes over the top, because he sounds more authoritative in that sort of situation, and just sort of explains it better. So that's I mean, I do it. I've done all of Ghost, but that's just because it was during the pandemic. I've had more time to kind of just do it myself. He's been doing other things, so I've just tried to do it most of that myself. But he did the extra colouring and made it look really nice, because the entire thing, normally we film on DSLR cameras, but the Ghost was entirely shot on my iPhone 11 Pro.
Really?
Yeah, every single little bit of it. Apart from a couple of shots that I shot at my friend's house of the actual performance side of things, but most of it, anything with a black background, is done in my little shed on my iPhone 11 Pro. So yeah. But luckily, Simon's taken it and it was able to sort of colour it, make it look nice.
Well, I had no idea, so that goes to show, you don't need a production studio or people out there who are trying to do stuff on their own. You can do it. You
can, yeah, absolutely. You've just got to be a bit inventive, and you've just got to learn about colouring. I mean, the one thing that took us one of the longest things that's taken us, so long to learn is sound. We've got the picture, we have the picture quite well as us, but if you listen to the trailers of a lot of the Alchemy things, the sound's a little bit poor, and that's because we didn't have the right microphones. Ghost, all of a sudden, I got the Rode Lavalier Go, it's the wireless Go, and that was, for me, that was a game changer. I was thinking, why didn't I get this, years ago? Because all of a sudden everything sounds clear, and because of Simon does the voiceover separately, so that's always sounded good because he's got a nice mic. But if we're doing out performances out or when we're doing that sort of interview thing where we're talking to camera, it's always been not quite as good as it should have been. Whereas now it all sounds great, but I think it took us a long time to realise how important sound is to the overall product. It's almost just as important, if not more, because sometimes the picture can be a bit shoddy, and if the sound's good, then it doesn't matter so much. But if the picture's really good and the sound's really shoddy, I find it almost bugs you more sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree, but yeah.
I definitely agree. I think you can get away with a lot more if you have good sound, and you can make a bad camera look pretty good if you have good lighting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's another thing. And yeah, again, you learn it as you go along. As you say, you don't need a massive studio. You can do it, create it all in your shed, as long as you get the background, as long as you get the lights, and none of this has to be done expensively. That's for sure.
So, is there something already in the works after Ghost, is now out? Do you have the next coin thing lined up, or is that?
Yes.
For me, I'm sort of been practicing. It's my next project is probably going to be called Gimmick, and it's because it centres around a couple of gimmicks, and I won't say any more than that now, but I think because I'm obsessed with real sleight of hand, but I think there's so many good things you can achieve with a gimmick, and especially when you start, it's good to learn how to use gimmicks and how to ring them in and out. And I think that's the hard thing, because the problem with using gimmicks, especially as a beginner, you never really you don't want to be caught with a gimmick. But you can do the most miraculous things without having too much hard sleight of hand, even like a simple coin, simple coins across. But I think it's important. I actually think what I've tried to do with Gimmick is create routines where coins appear, do something, and then disappear. So, and at times throughout the routines that the audience can handle the coins, but you choose your moments carefully. And because of the structure of the routine, everything always feels normal. And because the audience has got to handle the coins at certain points, they feel like they're all normal. But so that's my plan. And it's going to be mainly about gimmicks and routining. That's it. But there will also be a Ghost 2 where, as I say, I've got more vanishes and productions. And what I'm going to focus on that is, again, routines that you can use, because I've kind of covered most of the uses of it, even though I've got a couple of new ones. I want to explore how you can use this move in routines, and even simple little routines, and some are also going to be a little bit harder, so, for those move monkeys.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that new stuff, both on Ghost 2 and Gimmick coming out. But I want to thank you again for joining me today and giving people a chance to learn more about you and the Alchemy Tree. And I encourage everyone to pick up Ghost. You're going to get a lot out of it. And so thank you, Collin.
Thank you so much for reviewing it, and it's been a real pleasure. I haven't gone on to for too long or anything like that. Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Yeah, well, see you soon. Cheers.
So that's it for this week, guys. I want to thank you for stopping by again. I hope you really enjoyed that interview, and I encourage you to visit alchemytree.com. Also, check out their YouTube channel, The Alchemy Tree, and look at all those videos in there to get a sample of what you'll see in this project. And there's also a great interview in there with Peter Nardi. And if you haven't subscribed here, that's the easiest way to show your appreciation for what I'm doing here. And feel free to donate to me in the tip jar down below. And check out my website, rickholcombmagic.com, and maybe pick up something you like. Until next time.